the Track is a monthly web TV show about cryptozoology, natural history, green issues, and whatever else the team feel like making up as they go along. Enjoy.
Coming up this week.
Hello everybody, my name's Hennis, and my friend Mr. Simon from Denmark thinks that I'm a Gnostic Archon. Well, you can't really argue with somebody from Denmark because they've got mermaids and they make my favourite biscuits. So, maybe I am, I don't know.
All hail the Magister of 365 levels.
Can I have a biscuit, please?
Of course you can, Hennis.
Mr. John, what's in this episode of On the Track?
Well, Hennis, in this week's episode, we've got the return of our old friend Ray Harwood, who just might have found the most important piece of evidence yet in the search for Bigfoot.
I really like the old credits.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's John Downs. I'm the director of an organisation called the Centre for Fortean Zoology, which is, as far as we are aware, the longest standing mystery animal research group in the English-speaking world, and we like to think the best. And every Saturday afternoon we bring you this show, which is called On the Track, and on Wednesday evenings, we also bring you a show called On the Track Extra. And on the last Wednesday of the month, we bring you a show called, imaginatively, the Last Wednesday of the Month show, in which me and the lovely Vivian Powell, aided and abetted by our regular panel of V. McCrinnan, Dave Scott and Ian Squibbs, discuss, debate, and generally often make fun of the latest mystery animal news from around the world with our specially invited guests. Now, okay, we've told you what the shows are, but what's in it? What are they about? Well, they are
A mixture!
It is a melange, and it is a muddle. I'm sure something else. Lauren, what begins with M?
Moon, of course.
Thanks, honey, I can work with that. Yes, Lauren is quite right. We are a moon of the show. Why are we a moon of the show? Well, there's a man living in us. We're made of green cheese, and once a month, whenever we're full, we make a surprisingly large proportion of the population feel unsettled. But what is it? Well, it's hard science, weird shit, and surreality. What's surreality, you want to know? Well, I think you should really go and ask Miss Helen. She knows far better than I do.
If you put prawns in your fridge and you have fresh pineapple in there as well, the pineapple eats the prawns. The prawns are not there.
And what was that, Shoshana?
What if you put them on a different shelf?
Anywhere in the fridge. Doesn't matter. Whether it's on another shelf, it disappears.
Right. Well, when I'm thinking about, like, when doing something or something, and I think about what I'm doing, or I think of myself like when I was 13 years old, because I think my brain kind of peaked at 13, and then it just kind of stayed that way for 50 years, and then it kind of started degrading from there.
I'm similar, but I think my brain is where it was when I was about 19.
Oh, that's good.
But
Yeah, I
I've
could
got
use the
that,
extra 5 years.
but golly, I've gone downhill. In the
But
last
it's so
few
funny
years,
because you don't see when your brain doesn't comprehend, and then you look in the mirror and you think, "Oh my gosh, that's not me. Who's that old dude?"
it's worse with me. I look in the mirror, I see my father, and
Oh yeah, that too.
why
Yeah,
has he got long hair and a beard?
yeah. I see my grandfather on my dad's side. So he was a lot larger than I am, but I mean, as far as the features and stuff, we look the same. It's kind of weird.
Well, Ray, how are you, mate? It's good to see you again.
I'm doing pretty good, considering all things considered, doing pretty good.
Now, you contacted me the other day that you'd had a really good idea about Bigfoot and you
Yeah.
tested
Well,
it out.
okay. Sorry if I talk over you. I have that tendency to do that to people. Anyway, what it was I was watching the original Michael Crichton uh, book version, the book turned into a video. In 1993, they made a movie of his 1990 book, Jurassic Park, which most people have seen. It's a classic,
Mm.
um, in the genre of science fiction. It's one of the best, right? Steven Spielberg and whatnot. So I was watching, and they were, they have the mosquitoes that were uh, frozen millions of years ago in amber, and then they took them out and they did a blood meal analysis that entomologists still do today to find uh, diseases in cattle or in the environment. And as a byproduct, uh, these environmentalists and whatnot, when they do the blood meal analysis, they also identify what vertebrates are in the area, because the mosquito, there's a couple different uh, Hematophilidus. I don't know how to say the word in Latin, but it's the scientific name is for blood sucking insects, and the female mosquito uh, is the one that sucks blood for the nutrition and whatnot, and it's something to do with the propagation of the eggs type tissue. So I was watching the movie and I was thinking, well, I wonder if you could take that blood meal analysis and apply it to the search for cryptids. And then so I started doing a little research, and sure enough, ecologists and like you would say, I don't, my brain's not functioning at 100%, but uh, people who study animals and whatnot, zoologists and things, they do use that to identify rare species numbers, and to see if there's rare species in geographic areas where they're maybe suspected of existing. So, like if there's a rare marmot type, they will go and they'll collect. They take these white burlap sacks type things and rub them across the chaparral or whatnot, catching these insects. And a female mosquito will hold the DNA of the host from the the meal it ate that was the blood. They'll hold that DNA, and it hasn't digressed for 48 hours. So as long as they freeze it, it's good for analysis indefinitely frozen. I mean, they have to unfreeze it, but they can't freeze it, unfreeze it, freeze it, and unfreeze it. It's like they have a one-shot deal at it. But if they do I think they use nitrogen or something like that to freeze them in the field, and then they keep them frozen until they have to do their scientific centrifuge work and this to extract DNA information. And so I started looking at the DNA databases for areas that most people think of as highly suspect for having Sasquatch, or in Florida, skunk ape, and in the South. So so I started looking in that, and I started searching the databases, and I finally came up a hit with an unknown simian in Florida in one of the databases.
Wow.
And so the thing is it's kind of strange because and I guess a lot of people that research Sasquatch already know these facts, but the variance in DNA between a Homo sapien and say a chimpanzee, the similarity is 98.7. So we're almost identical. And then you could take someone from the Nordic countries and the DNA from someone in Africa, and they look vastly different, but the variance is only 1%. So anyway, it's problematic in several ways like that. And also there's no database for Sasquatch. So you don't have, I think they call it polymorphous. I think it's like you don't have a database for it that is, okay, we know for sure this is Sasquatch, or this is skunk ape, or unknown relic
No,
common.
of course.
Yeah, so we don't have that database, so we can't like get a match. But we can say, okay, this is human, but there's a greater variance than the 0.13. There's a variance between humans and chimpanzees, the closest relative. So you can get like unknown simian, and it might be probable Homo sapien, or in the unknown vertebrate category. So I started I contacted a couple people that were collecting mosquitoes in those areas. I specifically targeted the areas where you got a lot of sightings. You go to the Bigfoot research organization, the BFRO, you can calculate where the concentrations of sightings they have various classes of sightings. One's footprints, and the class A is an actual visual encounter. So I went where the statistics kind of drove me to those areas, and then I thought this would be a good tool to possibly like get some kind of verification. Yeah, there's something there in the blood meal analysis data that would help you concentrate your efforts into one of those geographic areas. So I haven't got data back from the Northwest, which is Olympic Peninsula, Bluff Creek, the really high things. I don't know anyone in Canada, and there's kind of like a political thing right now, so I don't really want to go there. But Florida has a high volume, so I had someone freezing mosquitoes there, and so I'm in the process of like lining up a lab, or setting up a lab where I can test for that variance, or for that variant of DNA that's simian.
Well,
But there,
the place where the report that you got, the record, you got this one report of unknown simian DNA. Was that where was that? In a government archive, or in the?
yeah, that was that. There's a couple different ones. There's the military has that data.
Mhm.
Any entomology department. It's under the auspices of the entomology departments. All the universities have a database. The the United States Department of Agriculture has a database. The EU has a agricultural database of blood meal analysis. And it's just a matter of chasing through the rabbit holes till you find, the page that has the published data and the published reports.
And this stuff is publicly available to see.
Yeah, it is. I can't remember the name of that. There's one website where you can go to. Shoot, can't remember the name of it, but it has all technical reports and dissertations and things like that, and you can go on there. I'll look it up and I'll let you know. But yeah, it is accessible data. I just kept pushing until I started finding the databases. And I probably wouldn't have found that one. The one that did have a hit, I probably wouldn't have found that, but it actually had like illustrations of the different DNA strands, species identified. And I'm looking, I think it was Florida, and it showed some kind of, some sort of like a rat type creature and a skunk and a bear and you just regular species that you'd always see. And then in the photo, in the illustration, it showed a monkey. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. And that's where I started, reading that report.
That's really interesting. Do you know when was this sample taken?
I can't remember now. I was doing this a couple months ago, and I just started trying to get all the information together for the magazine and whatnot. And it's not old data, because I know the graphs and stuff were modern made. So
would you like me to put the word out to our representatives in, say, Canada, and get them to start looking for this for you?
Yeah, that'd be great. All they have to do is start scanning the databases, and if they have access to a lab, like if they're a student, like if I was a college student right now, I could get all that lab work done for free. I worked in the Archaeological Research Center at the college I went to a million years ago, and I had access to everything. I could do carbon 14 dating, amino acid racemization, or molecular, not molecular level, but microscopic analysis and residue studies. So because I had access to that full spectrum of different labs and stuff. Like I'd have to just go whatever department of the university had that equipment, you were actually allowed to use it. So I don't have anything like that now, so I have to depend on people that do.
I'll put the word around, and I'm thinking particularly to our people in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.
Right.
Because I've just had an analogy come into my mind. Being able to take blood samples from mosquitoes is a bit like having a load of tiny drones out taking samples for us.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
the other thing too is there's
the
mosquito. It's you have to have a gorged. Of course, it has to be gorged. So the way I was collecting them and freezing them was I just wait for them to land on my arm and smack them, and then that way. But also there's a certain at our local hardware store, there's a mosquito trap. I got that, and then there's the traditional way of they have those what they call the log and brush structures here that you find. So I would rub the sheets through those. Just in case that was like a Sasquatch type thing, and then freeze the mosquitoes. And that's I went through that whole phase, and I have I've got a lot of frozen ones, but haven't really got a chance to get a lab. Some of the people that were helping me out were able to do some of that. So,
Well, I think we should put out an appeal now to anybody who's watching this who can get us access, preferably without having to pay for it, to a lab anywhere. This is a lab anywhere in the world. Please let us know, and I will put you in touch with Ray, and we can see what we can find out. When you were collecting the mosquitoes, Ray, how did you freeze them?
well, if you have, I had a little bottle an entomologist gave me in a test tube of shoot, can't remember what it was. Well, anyway, a little vial that had some kind of substance in it, and I put them in there, and then I just brought them home and put them in the freezer.
Oh, simple as
As long
that.
as you get them within 48 hours. But the entomologist told me that the mosquito isn't the best. It's only the females. So some of them, I can't tell the difference between the male and the female at this time. So some of them aren't going to have any blood at all. The males don't have any post meal blood in them.
No.
But so, probably 50% of your sample, if they land on your arm and they sting you with their mouth, with their proboscis or whatever, and you hit them, that's going to be a female because it's feeding on you. So that's a good way. If you're rubbing sheets, you're getting male and female. So
I was
anything, but they said the deer fly, a deer fly holds the blood better than the mosquito, and better than that is a wood tick or a tick. As the tick gorge themselves, but the thing is usually a tick will keep hold of the animal, but if the tick does get blood and gets knocked off. So if you see a tick or a tick goes onto your capturing device and it's gorged, that's a good way to get a blood meal analysis.
Which comes up, by the way, everybody in Britain listening to this, what they call a deer fly in North America is what we call a horsefly.
Horsefly.
Just so we're all
right.
singing from the same hymn.
But it hurts when they get you.
Oh, yeah. But the best way of capturing ticks? Let your dog go out for a nice long run with some long grass, and he will definitely come back with some nice things, nice samples that you can take off the dog using one. There's a little instrument you can use.
Yeah, they put them in a test tube and then just pick out the gorged ones. The little flat ones won't have anything.
If you want to support us and help us make more content like these, please press like, subscribe, follow our Facebook page and check out our Patreon.
And as the ghost of Joe Strummer, who's an ever more regular visitor to my little studio, says, don't forget to ring the notification bell, otherwise you'll miss the new episodes.
And that would be an awful pity, wouldn't it?
If you've been affected by any of the topics in today's episode, you can just bugger off, because we don't give a monkeys. Bloody well get a grip. Sort your own bloody problems out rather than ringing up somewhere.
That was a public information film.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of another episode. I want to say a big, big thank you to everybody but for whom this show could not have happened, particularly, of course, my guest this week, Ray Harwood. And I also want to thank my producer, Louis. Say hello to the boys and girls, Louis.
Hey, everybody, I'm American now. Thank you for watching.
You don't sound American.
Hey y'all, I'm American now. I just got my pickup truck caught in the creek.
That sounds more American. Now go back to sounding like you're from Sussex.
Okay, is this my normal voice?
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for that, Louis, my sweet boy. And I want to say a big thank you, of course, to my deputy Graham Inglis, who's also my carer, which means he's the man who pushes me around hospital corridors in my wheelchair. And to V. McCrinnan and Richard Muirhead and Richard Freeman for all their input and for all the sterling work that the lovely Gwyn Palmer, Miss Guinevere, does behind the scenes, none of which really gets acknowledged in the way it should do. I'm going to be back next week with another conversation with Ray Harwood about his latest findings. And I'm going to be back on Wednesday, but I can't remember what I'm doing Wednesday, so don't ask. So, if you're going to be there watching Mr. McCrinnan, and if you're going to be there watching young Master Louis, are you going to be there watching young Master Louis?
Always.
Then I am going to be there doing all the gubbins I usually do on a Saturday afternoon, which in real terms means I do the notifications, the emails, the mail outs.
Getting drunk and singing pirate shanties.
I do not get drunk and I don't sing pirate shanties. You're just being a bad boy, young Master Louis. And what I actually do is the notifications and the live chat and all the other gubbins, then I usually go to sleep. So if you're going to be there, and probably young Master Louis will be getting drunk and singing pirate shanties, I most certainly... Oh, are you going to be there, Mr. McCrinnan? Mr. McCrinnan. Because if you are, all of you, I most certainly will be seeing you.